Now we'll work on the third section of the upper body. Let's bring our control curves back. And what we'll work on now is our next moving hold, where the character goes down for a second time, this time with more energy to lift up the weight. So we'll fix our range slider too, so we can bring our attention to this part of the animation. And let's select our upper body controls again. Okay, and we'll deselect the barbell control, also the hips, and make sure we do have our scapula control selected. And with them all selected, let's work on our moving hold now. So what we can do for this is, rather than going to frame 88 and then middle mouse button clicking on another frame to add our moving hold, we can actually save a little bit of time, because with that we'd have a pretty much a still frame. So what we can do to save time and make sure we still have some subtlety in our moving hold is go a few frames after, where the character is still moving, on frame 91, and middle mouse button click where we want to have our moving hold, and let's make it on frame 108. Then press Shift W and Shift E. Now watch what we're able to get. Now we have still some nice subtlety in our movement rather than, again, still frames. So this can be very helpful to do. And with that, let's hit play to view our movement now. Okay, great. So our moving hold here is coming along, and we can do a few more adjustments to it. First off, notice when we scrub how the elbows are slightly moving back very slowly. Well, we want them more in this up position. So what we'll do is take the elbow controls, and let's go to frame 88, and middle mouse button click where we added our moving hold, frame 108, and press Shift W. So now the elbows are staying where we want them to be. Great. And with that done, what we can now start to work on is the follow through in this movement. And we could start with the head. So let's select the head control and start working on the follow through for it. And for one, what we can do is take this key on frame 88 and let's move it back some, so that as the character moves down, the head will start to move downward, and then we'll add some other follow through afterwards. So we moved it to frame 91, and I think the head can move down a little bit more based off of the intensity at which the character is falling. So we'll hit play to get a feel to see how much we should adjust it. He's falling pretty fast, so we need to definitely rotate the head down more than it is. So we'll do that from the channel box. We'll go to the Rotate X channel and rotate the head downward. And we'll also translate it down too, so the neck will follow as it should. And we'll hit play to see if we like how the head's moving now for the follow through. Okay, that's much better. And we'll try it out again. Alright, great. Now we can work on the follow through afterwards. And it's looking pretty good. But let's go ahead and add a little bit more follow through on frame 99, and we'll have the head rise a little bit faster than it is now. So on frame 99, let's just rotate the Rotate X up and translate it up in the Z2. So here's what we get when we hit play. Okay, so notice the head's rising faster, and we get some subtlety from frames 99 all the way to 108. Great, so this is looking pretty good. So we've got the head following through. Now we could start working on the upper body, because notice it's pretty stationary when it actually shouldn't be. So we'll select the chest control and start working on it. And what we could just do is add a little bit of follow through with the chest control based off of our head movement. So for example here, as the head's moving upward, let's go to about frame 95 and just rotate the chest control up some, just slightly, for some subtle movement. Alright, great. So here's what we get when we hit play. Great. Now we're getting some nice fluidity, and let's add a little bit of movement to the back too, so we could get that moving some more. So again, this will be some follow through. So let's add that on about frame 99. So on frame 99, we'll also rotate the back up some. Again, real slight. And when we hit play, here's what we get. Great. Excellent. So there's our follow through for this section. And that actually completes the third where the character's down. So now we can start working on the fourth in this lesson. And this is where the character now is starting to pull up on the barbell and actually lifts it up. So for that, what we're going to do is have the character strain for a little bit longer before he actually lifts up the weight. So what we'll do is go ahead and select our control curves again for the upper body, making sure we have our scapulas also in our selection. And we'll deselect the hips again. And for this, we'll take this key on frame 123 and let's delay it a few frames. Let's go and bring it to about frame 127. So now that action will happen a little bit later on, and we will need to adjust the barbell so that it's not moving until frame 127, till after that. But while we still have these controls selected, let's work on adding our moving hold. And we'll do it similar to the moving hold we had in our third section. So let's go to about frame 125. And we'll middle mouse button click on frame 115 because we want the movement pretty fast. So he's really going to be forcefully lifting up on the barbell. So on frame 125, we'll press Shift W and Shift E. So here's the movement we get now when we hit play. Bam! Now the character is really coming up and pauses for a bit, and then he's going to start lifting up the barbell afterwards. And what we also want to do is go to our barbell now and make sure that it's not lifting up till frame 127 as well. So we'll move that key to 127. So here's what we get when we hit play. Bam, the character moves up and starts to lift up the weight afterwards. And we'll adjust this timing a little bit later on of when the character is actually lifting it. But to work on this section some more, notice how the arms should be locked when they're actually not right now. So we'll want to fix that. And they should be locked on frame 115 and 127 as well. So we can adjust the scapula controls. We'll go to frame 115, and with this right scapula selected, let's rotate it back in the rotate Y for the rotate Y constraint ring so that it's locked. And we'll need to go ahead and make sure that it's locked on frame 127 too. So we can use our middle mouse button technique. We'll go to frame 115, middle mouse button, click on 127, and press Shift E to key all of our rotate channels. And we'll need to move it back a little bit more because we don't want it still. It should, since the character is moving backwards, remember we want to focus on his movement. Since he's rotating back, we'll actually have the scapula move forward just slightly. Like that. So here's what we get now. When we scrub through, great. Now we'll work on the left scapula. So again, we'll go to frame 115 and let's rotate the scapula up some so that the arm is locked. And we'll scrub past and see how the arm is bending afterwards, just like what we had with the right arm. So again, we'll go to frame 115, middle mouse button, click on 127 and press Shift E to key our rotate channels. And we'll rotate the scapula slightly forward since they should still be moving slightly. Great. So there's the start of our fourth section. We'll hit play to see how it's looking. Great, we're making great progress. Let's do a play blast to see our animation now to check out our results. Here it is. Okay, so it's looking pretty good in this view. Let's check out another view. Remember, we want to check out our animation in more than one view to see if we could find any areas that need to be fixed. So again, we'll look for another view to play blast from. About this 3/4 back view would be fine. Here it is. Excellent. So now we can close out our play blast. And we can see that from the play blast we just looked at, how those simple fixes really have given us an awesome result. The body's got some nice fluid motion, and we've even got the character showing some good strain as he lifts up the weight. So now our third section is completed, and we've even started on our fourth. And we're really moving along with our sections for the upper body. In the next lesson, we'll start working more on the fourth.